Friends, welcome back to DigiTalk. In this session, we are going to discuss about the configuration file archiving feature of the Weblogic. Okay, so this is the feature that is used to take the automatically backup of the configuration files when we do any kind of a configuration changes in the Weblogic. Okay, for example, if you are going to update any of the configurations or multiple configurations from the admin console, okay, and after doing the changes, what we do is we activate the changes. Okay, after that it reflects. Okay, so whenever we do any kind of a configuration changes, sometimes we have a process in place where we have to take the complete backup of the domain or maybe complete backup of certain directories or configuration files. Okay, but that is a manual process. Okay, sometimes many of the engineers forgot about that one. They do not take the configurations, or sometimes it is happened that our current configuration files get corrupted and we are not in the position to go back and look for the previous backup file, right, to restart the domain or to restore the configurations. Okay, so in that case we can configure this particular feature, which is called configuration file archiving. Okay, so when we enable this one and whenever we go to do any kind of a configuration changes from the admin console, okay, or maybe using certain kind of automation, but before it does any kind of a changes in the configuration file, it will automatically take the current backup and it save in a certain place. Okay, so if any time you need the previous backup, that you can restore from that particular location. Okay, and this feature is called the configuration file archiving. Okay, and to show you the demo, I am going to follow again this lab document from the Digitalk. Okay, and this is again the part of the 25 plus lab document from the Digitalk along with the Weblogic handbook. And if you need all this document, all these lab handbooks, and then along with the complete labs, okay, then you can do write us on digitalk.fmw@gmail.com. We will send you the details. It is available on the bare minimum cost. Okay, and the beauty of all these labs is that they are the complete step-by-step executions along with the screenshot and with the detailed explanation that you are not going to get anywhere. Okay, and let's continue with this particular lab, okay, where we are going to do the configuration of file archiving. So I have explained you what is the basic feature, what is the purpose of this particular feature. Okay, and let us go back to see how we can enable this one. Okay, and there are two options for that one. First, we can enable it from the Weblogic console. Okay, and second option, we can enable it from the using the WLST as well. Okay, so I'm going to show you both of the options, how you can configure it. So let us first go back and see how we can configure it with the help of Weblogic console. Okay, so to configure it from the Weblogic console, okay, what you have to do is you have to log into your admin console. So once you will log into admin console, click on your domain name, right? After that, you will go to configurations and general tab by default. Scroll down and come back to the advanced tab. Okay, inside the advanced tab, you can see the option configuration archive enabled. Okay, by default it is disabled. Okay, and then archive configuration count. So our configuration archive enabled, if you are going to select this one, this is going to enable your archive feature, right? And whatever the count that you will specify here, it will retain such number of backups. Okay, if I will specify 5, that means it will retain the last 5 backups, and if you do any configuration changes after that one, it will override the oldest file from the backup and then keep maintain the current file. So let me enable this feature and let me specify the count as 5. Okay, and then let us activate this feature. Okay, so now you can see that all changes have been activated. One item must be restarted. Okay, why it is saying one item? Because I have my admin server is running currently only. My managed servers are in down state, right? So that means we have to restart the admin server. Okay, so what I will do is that I will quickly go to my console and then I will do the control C, right? I will restart my Weblogic, okay, admin server. Okay, so now if you have a multiple servers are running in the domain, so probably you have to restart all of your managed servers and including your admin server. That means you need to restart your complete domain to enable this feature, right? So now my admin server is running. If I go back to the console again, okay, I have to log in again because the session is disconnected now because the admin server was restarted. Okay, and then let me log in and show you the option. Okay, it is enabled now, right? So what I need to do is I will do some kind of a configuration changes and then we will see how the configuration feature will take the backup. Okay, so let us go back and then see the advanced option again, and if you scroll down, then you will see this option is enabled now. Okay, this option is enabled with the archive configuration count is 0, right? So now the question is where it take the backups and how it is stored. Okay, so whenever we'll do any kind of a changes, okay, because this is the first time we have enabled this one, so automatically at that time it will create a folder with name config archive inside your domain. Okay, and this is the folder it will going to create. It is not there right now. Okay, so whenever we will do the changes, it will create a config folder first time after the activation, and then it will store of inside configuration inside that in the name format of config-1.jar for first backup, -2 for second, and -3, 4, 5 for next subsequent backups. Okay, and once backup is in place, you can extract this jar file and then you can see the content as well. Okay, so now let me go back and let me update one parameter. Okay, so let me update this console parameter, which is 3600 let me do it 2000. Okay, and let me do the changes, save. Okay, so what I have done is I have changes the console session parameter from 3600 to 2000, right? And now to activate this, I have to restart the item again, right? That means I have to restart my admin server. My managed servers are already down. So let me quickly go back to my console and then let me restart my admin server. So now my admin server is getting restarted. Okay, and in between let me go back to my domain, and okay, after the restart you will see the folder is there. Okay, let it come back. Okay, server is running now, right? And let me go back and see if the configuration is persist there or not, right? So I have to log in again. So let me log in. Okay, and after login we'll go to the domain name and then configuration and then general tab, and then in the advanced option you can see now the value for session parameter is now 2000, which was earlier 3600, right? And now let me go back to my domain, and now you can see that there is a folder called config archive is created, and there is a file which is created with the name config-1.jar, right? So that means before updating the value of this session parameter, it has taken the backup. So let me show you the current value of this from the config folder. If you go to the domain and config folder and double click on the config.xml file, right, and if you will search for session parameter, right, so now you can see this is the admin console area, right? And then here you can see the current value is 2000, but what was the value prior to the configuration changes was 3600. That means the backup that we have, it has been taken by the Weblogic, which is inside the config archive folder. Okay, should have the value of 3600, right, which is the previous value. So let me go inside my config archive and let me extract this particular jar file to see the content, and the format for that is, I haven't specified the Java path, so I am going to specify the complete path of Java. Then -xbf, right? X we used to extract the jar file, and then we have our jar file, right? So now it has extracted all the contents, whatever the backup it has taken. Okay, and now these are the content which has been extracted from this particular file, which is config.-1.jar. Okay, so these are the certain directories that it automatically take the backup of certain directories, which is the important configurations, right, for your domain. Okay, if you will do any changes in the JDBC or in JMS, it will take the backup of that particular XML file here. Okay, whatever it's going to modify. So what we have done is we have modified the session parameter, which has to be reflected in the config.xml. So if I open this particular file and then if I search for the session, right, so now you can see that the previous value was 3600, right? So what it shows is that it shows that whenever you do any changes from the admin console, okay, or for using any of the tool, if you are modifying any configurations of your Weblogic, okay, it will automatically take the backup of your configuration files and it will place inside the config archive directory, and the name of file would be config-1.jar and config-2, 3, 4, 5 and 6.jar, something like that. Okay, it will maintain the 5 backup of files, right, because I have given the parameter as 5 during the configurations, and after that it will override the first file and then it will create again the new file, right? So this is the feature that we can configure with the WebLogic and with the help of the admin console. Now when we talk about the configuration with the help of WLST, so what I will do, let me go back and disable this feature again. Okay, and then I will show you how you can configure it with the help of WLST. Okay, so let me make it 0 and then let me save it. So after saving, I have to restart my admin server because it is not a dynamic change, right? So let me go to my console again and let me kill the session of my admin server and then we restart it. Okay, so what you need to do is, for that WLST you need a WLST script, and this is the content of the script, right, where you have to set the config backup enabled rule, right, and then archive configuration count, either whatever we have given the 5, so whatever the value you want you can specify here, right? So that means let me take this one. Okay, and what I will do is I will create one file. Okay, so my admin is running on localhost on port 7001, right, and admin user is WebLogic and the password is WebLogic123, right? Okay, so let me log in back to my WebLogic console and let me see if the configuration is disabled or not. Right, we have disabled it because I'm going to show you how you can enable it with the help of WLST now. So let me check the configurations again. Okay, and click on advanced tab. Okay, so now we can see that this option is disabled, right? So now we are going to enable it with the help of our WLST. Okay, so now what I will do, I will go to my domain and then I will delete this config directory as well, right? Because okay, it is open. Let me clear this one. Okay, so this directory is not there now, so it will have to create again once we will enable with the help of WLST, right? So this is a WLST file. So we have modified the host port of admin server, then username and password, right? Rest is same. So now we have to save it. So what I am going to do is I am going to save it. Okay, where I will say I will going to save it in my C drive. Okay, let me save it on C drive. Okay, with the name of, let me give the same name whatever we have given here, enable arc.py, right? So it is going to save in the C drive. Okay, okay, we don't have permission. I will store it on D drive. So let us store it on D drive. Okay, so now what I have to do is, this is a txt file, so I have to probably go there and then I have to change the extension, right? I have to make it py. Okay, so now we have the file is created with this name, and what exactly we need to do, we have to run the wst command and then we have to run this particular file, right? So for that one we have to go to the Oracle home, which is WLS14C in my case, and inside that Oracle common, then common and the bin directory, right? And here you have to run the command prompt. Why? Because we have to run the wlst.cmd in Windows, and if you are on Linux then wlst.sh, and then we have to specify the path of enable arc.py, right? This is the Python script that we are going to use to enable this particular option. So this will invoke the WLST and then it will update the parameter, right? And in between, let me go back to my console again. Okay, let me see. Okay, I have my admin server is running only, right? So it will take bit time. Okay, it takes some time to offline connect with the WLST by reading the jar of weblogic.jar file for the classes. Okay, that's why it takes some time to connect. Okay, now after doing this activation from the WLST, what we need to do is we have to restart our servers, right? Because when we done the changes from the admin console, we got the message on the screen, right, that you have to restart the one item that was admin server in our case. Okay, so if you are activating it with the help of WLST, right, so it's not going to ask you that you have to restart the server. So activation is completed, right? So if you go to and see the configuration now, what is the status of the configuration now after running the this particular option? Okay, this is activated with the value of 10 which we have given in the script, right? So this is activated now. Okay, but to get it reflected, what we need to do is we have to restart our admin server. So what I will do again, I will quickly kill the session of my admin server and then I will run it again. Okay. After that, you have to do some changes again and then you have to validate whether it is getting reflected or not in your. Okay, now you can see that directory is there, right? Okay, and then let me again go back and see the status. Okay, it is running now. So let me go back and then again and I will do the configuration changes. Okay, to show you whether it is getting backed up or not. Okay, Weblogic 123 and okay, so let me see the configuration again whether it is activated or not. For that one I have to click on advanced tab and now this we have verified, right? It was 10 and it was activated. So now what I will do is I will change this configuration from 2000 to 1000, right? So that means the new config file, the new latest config file inside the domain should show the value of 1000, right? But the backup file should show the 2000, right? Because the earlier value was 2000 in our case. Okay, so I have activated this value and then let me restart my server after activating this value, new value. Okay, and then let me restart the server. Okay, this server is getting restarted. Let me go back to my domain and the config folder. Okay, and then let me see the configuration file for the session parameter. Sorry. Okay, now you can see that we have modified the value 1000 from 2000. So the current config file is showing the value as 1000, right? And now let me see if my server is running or not. Okay, console is running. And now let me see the go to and then see the backup of my this file, if it is reflecting old 2000 value or not, right? So this is a config1.jar. It has been taken by the default when we changes the from with the help of WST and restarted our servers. Now the current file is config-2.jar. So let me go to command prompt. Okay, and then let me extract it here, java 8 and then bin and then jar-xvf config. I'm going to extract config2.jar, right? So now the file has been extracted and then if I go back to the directory and if I look for the config.xml and let me search for the session. So now here you can see the value is 2000, right? So earlier value was 2000 and we have changed it to 1000. So that means the correct backup has been taken. So this is one of the important feature, okay, in WebLogic, where you can enable it so that it automatically take the backup of your important configuration file. So if required you can restore it any time, right? So if you need all these documentations, labs and then headbook as well, then you can do write to us on dtalk.fmw@gmail.com. We'll send you the instructions and complete details. Thanks for watching this video and stay tuned for the next video.